I'd like to be in the blue room, in the bar, but next time. In the next 3 days, approximately 30 staff members from 3 public agencies will be here at this hotel. Those agencies are the Department of Natural Resources, the Department of Environmental Quality, and the Department of Wildlife and Fisheries. They will be here at a meeting with the oil industry, and an interesting fact is that though they'll be at a hotel, these agencies are in fact responsible for regulating the industry. Despite that fact, the oil industry and the agencies will, over the next 3 days, consume $85,000 worth of food and drink here at the Roosevelt Hotel. This is according to the bill submitted, the budget submitted by the Department of Natural Resources. I want to tell you where agency staff will not be over the next 3 days. They will not be in Geismar, where on June 13th, 2 workers died and 77 were sent to the hospital in an explosion at Williams-Olefins plant. They will not be in Donaldsonville, where an explosion killed 1 worker on June the 14th, and more people were injured. They will not be in Lawtell, Louisiana, which is near Lafayette, where 27 cars derailed, spilling all kinds of chemicals into the rice fields and the agricultural lands nearby. While the agency staff are at this hotel, consuming $85,000 of food and drink with the oil industry, they will not be at Dow Chemical in Taft, where in early August there was an evacuation due to a chemical release. They will not be at the port or anywhere near Uptown, where again on August 8th there was a spill of 58,000 pounds of a highly toxic chemical called paraquat. They will not be in St. Charles Parish at the Valero refinery, where on August 9th there were over 46,000 pounds of sulfur dioxide release. That is a respiratory irritant. Agency staff also will not be in Baton Rouge where on August 10th Formosa Plastics released hydrochloric acid and ExxonMobil had a spill of hydrogen sulfide. This list may seem to go on and on, but it's only the accidents in the last 10 weeks. Agency staff, while they are here, will not be in Port Allen, Louisiana, where a butadiene cloud, a toxic chemical, wafted over River Road on August 12th. They will not be in the Gulf of Mexico, where in the last few weeks there have been dozens of oil spills. You can see the sheen on the water from the air. They will not be in Harvey, Louisiana. As you may remember, August 20th, last week there was an explosion. They will not be in our wetlands, saving our wetlands, and they will not be in Bayou Corn, that is sinking week after week. You may be aware that there's a YouTube video that has gotten a lot of popularity in the last week or so about Bayou Corn, and it's showing trees disappearing into the sinkhole. That sinkhole is now 25 acres wide, and yet, according to the Department of Natural Resources, it's okay because it does not represent a new threat to public safety. We're accustomed to these public threats. So with that, I would like to formally welcome everyone to what is an annual meeting. This is the 7th annual meeting between the oil industry and the Department of Natural Resources and other state agencies. It's called Sunrise. We, however, are here for it to be sunset. We're here today to call for this meeting to end. This is the last year we want to see this meeting. And there are 2 main reasons for the need to end this meeting. Number 1, this is not an appropriate setting between regulators and industry. It's a fancy hotel, they're eating a lot of food, and there are other items on the agenda that are not appropriate. Also, the public is not allowed to go unless you're willing to fork over $435 to get inside. The other problem is that this is absolutely not the right use of the agency staff time. As my list conveyed, there are a lot of very pressing issues, much more impressive, much more urgent than sidling up to the oil industry at the bar inside. I just want to review the budget with you. So we got the budget. We asked the Department of Natural Resources for the budget. And what we found on this, we found a couple of interesting things. One is that they make the argument that the registration fees paid by industry pay for the event. And that may be true, because they bring in about $130,000. Let's look at the expenses. $85,000 is for food and beverage over the next 3 days. There's also a social reception for $600,000, and when you look at the agenda, it says, you are cordially invited to the Blue Room for a New Orleans-style jazz reception. We don't believe that either the $85,000 worth of food and drink nor the jazz reception, again, are appropriate forums for regulators and industry to be interacting. But there's more than that. The budget they sent us included an event from August 2012. We asked for the budget information for this meeting, and we got something for a totally different meeting that I never knew about that happened last year in 2012. This brings up 2 points. What are all the meetings these guys are having in which they're enjoying each other? And secondly, they don't seem very organized to me if this is their budget file. And so I'm wondering how accurate is their budget. The BP disaster showed us what cozy relationships between the industry and the regulators will bring. It brings disaster. We have ongoing disasters in this state that the Department of Natural Resources and the other agencies say are not a threat to the public at this time. They believe that because they're spending too much time in hotels like this. We call for this conference to end, and I now call for my colleague Jonathan Henderson from the Gulf Restoration Network to come up here. We'd like to hear from y'all. Hang on, well, let's do a little costume change.